On November 17th, 2015, EA released the long-awaited Star Wars Battlefront. The reboot of the famous Pandemic series was definitely a monetary success for the company, but as reviews started to come out, many fans of the original series and of the Battlefield series were very disappointed. Fast forward to today, and DICE has added a few free maps, offline skirmish mode, and 4 paid DLCs that include some new modes, HUD contracts, skins, heroes, new maps, and many new guns. Battlefront has definitely found its fan base, and now we long await the controversial sequel. Before we start talking about the wish list for EA's Battlefront 2, let's take a look at some of the things that DICE did right that should return in this next iteration. Sights and sounds. Pretty much everyone agrees that EA's Battlefront was one of the prettiest games of 2015, and it still holds up. The blaster fire that surrounds you when you're playing, along with the sounds of the vehicles in the air or on the ground, really feel like you're a part of a war in the Star Wars universe. It was one of DICE's biggest focuses for the game, and now we have a nice core of models and effects for the future games of the series. The heroes and villains. They look pretty great and they're fun to play as. As time went on after Battlefront's release, Heroes vs. Villains was probably one of the most popular modes in the game. It was like being a little kid again, picking up some action figures and making them fight. Multiplayer. Battlefront is a multiplayer game. The offline features are very limited, but the turnout has been a fun, arcade feeling multiplayer experience. I personally don't think of myself as a great multiplayer gamer, and I definitely prefer to play offline, but EA Star Wars Battlefront always has me coming back. It doesn't feel too competitive and caters to the casual Star Wars fan. Alright, so now let's move on to what EA and DICE need to add to make Star Wars fans and Battlefront fans happy with their purchase later this year. We'll start with the offline features. A campaign. One of the biggest letdowns of Battlefront was the lack of a campaign. It looks like DICE didn't feel confident with their storytelling abilities, so they decided just not to try at all. Or maybe they felt like concentrating on multiplayer was going to get more games off the shelves. Whatever the reason, the approach didn't sit well with fans. The great thing about making a Star Wars game is that there's an entire galaxy to explore, filled with different characters, stories, and worlds. Their imagination can run wild on this one, and deliver something fresh for the lore and the new canon of the Star Wars universe. Skirmish. When Skirmish mode was released, many fans that had left Star Wars Battlefront flocked back to try it. At first they were very pleased with the fun casual game mode, especially since it included both online and couch co-op. But the lack of modes, maps, along with the preset star card setups caused those offline junkies to get bored again. I understand that adding all the modes available for multiplayer is difficult to accomplish, especially if they want to improve the AI bots. But in order for Battlefront 2 to help that offline community grow, they need to have all the maps available for Skirmish. The main audience that Battlefront 2 is going to be trying to sell to, besides returning players, are people that are jumping on the hype train for Episode 8. These casual players would have a much better experience if they got to choose their difficulty in an offline mode instead of taking a chance, being paired up against some sweaties online, and then getting destroyed. These next couple of points can be applied to both offline and online aspects of the game. The prequel era. What's one of the greatest things the prequel movies got right? The games that came along with them. It's pretty much been confirmed already that new maps based off of episodes 7 and 8 will be added in Battlefront 2. Now, I definitely don't think this is a bad thing by any means, but if DICE were to add the prequel era to Battlefront 2 as well, their options open up so much more. There's a huge array of maps, classes, skins, and heroes they can choose from, and this will help make Battlefront 2 feel like a complete experience upon release. Ground to space combat. This is asking for a lot, but if DICE can pull this off, it will set this game apart from many shooters of today and even Star Wars games of the past. Finally being able to fight on the ground and then hop in a vehicle, fly to space, and help turn the tide up there as well, all in a Star Wars setting, would be a dream come true for fans. Vehicles. For the most part, the vehicles in Battlefront play well. The only gripe is the way you get in them. While the pickups work well for extra weapons to add to your arsenal and bringing heroes and villains to the battlefield, they take away from the vehicle experience. It feels much more satisfying to go to a hangar, get inside of a vehicle, and take it from there. Oh yeah, and bring back Tauntauns on Hoth. Free DLC. The problem with Battlefront when it first released was that it didn't feel like a complete game. In order to get the full experience, you had to shell out another $50 for the season pass. I like to think that gamers have gotten smarter since then. All DLC does, besides suck our wallets dry, is divide the player base. If we look at the recent success of Titanfall 2, one of the main reasons is because all the DLC is free. And Respawn is an EA developer, so there is hope for us here. Now moving on to purely multiplayer improvements. I do think that the arcade feel of Star Wars Battlefront has contributed to it still holding up today. I understand that they wanted a different, unique experience apart from their Battlefield series. So for this, I'd say if it's not broken, don't fix it. Except it is broken. Bugs and hackers. I'm looking at you, Lando abusers. As of late, DICE has had a bad track record of just ignoring game-breaking bug exploits and not really having a strict discipline system for hackers on PC. It could be because most of the development team is focusing their efforts on Battlefront 2, but this doesn't excuse this type of behavior from a AAA company, especially after many players spent over $100 to get the game and the season pass. Ranked online mode. I've mentioned this a couple times already, that I like the casual gameplay of EA's Battlefront, but this video isn't just about me. A ranked online mode would please a lot of fans looking for the hardcore experience that most shooters offer, and it would help the streaming community as well. A good skill-based matchmaking system could be implemented and help Battlefront gamers improve their team skills and gunplay, along with having more people focus on the objective in different game modes. When Pandemic's Battlefront 2 released in 2005, many of us felt like we were being placed into the Star Wars universe. The large list of maps, classes, along with a solid campaign, galactic conquest, and instant action added hundreds of hours of gameplay to the Star Wars classic. It was such a strong title that when the gameplay leaked for Free Radical's Battlefront 3, fans dreamed of a game that would open up that Star Wars gaming experience even more. What kind of legacy will EA's Battlefront 2 have? Will it finally please both offline and online gamers with features that have been asked for since 2009? Or will it just be a cash grab to cater to the hype train of Episode 8? Whatever the case, I hope gamers vote with their wallets this time and wait for reviews to come out instead of pre-ordering. This way, developers would put more effort into their final products, and maybe we can lessen these DLC practices as well. Let me know in the comments below what features I missed that you would like to see in Battlefront 2. Also make sure to like and subscribe as it will help me bring more Star Wars content to you. Thanks for watching everyone, and remember, the Force will be with you, always.